how long does a piece of media have to be out before you no longer have to say spoiler alert?
Um, now, uh, all right. It's hard for me to say a piece of media. I will say about a movie because I think I can. I think I can get something that's I think agreeable for a movie.
Okay.
Once that movie is out of theaters and onto a platform you can look at home, spoilers are no longer a thing. Like if that shit's a DVD release, if it's now streaming on Netflix and it's out of the movie theater, I think we can talk about it now. Cuz now you
Mm,
have the means and the convenience to see it. You just haven't.
okay.
And that's
Well,
probably what like 2 months. Like I mean
yeah.
that's a decent amount of time.
Well, let me hit you with this. Because this is what happened at Gen Con. So Friday, I had dressed. No, not Friday. No, Friday. I dressed up as Rengoku
Yeah.
from Demon Slayer, right?
Hmm.
So we were downstairs playing werewolf, and we were in a circle about 13, 14 people,
Hmm.
and then so somebody across from me said, "How was your train ride over?" And so I said, "You know what? While it might have been fatal, every I did my job and everybody made it safely." And the group, most of the group started like had a good chuckle out of it. And then one dude was like, "I hadn't seen Mugen Train yet." Now,
Uh
now, Mugen Train was an interesting movie because after it left theaters, there actually wasn't a place to see it. Like I looked, I mean, obviously you have your illegal sites to find it, but it
mhm.
hadn't came out on DVD. I mean, now it's on DVD. By the time Gen Con happened, it was on DVD. But if you look at like 2 to 3 months after Mugen Train came out, it
Mhm.
wasn't on DVD. It wasn't on Funimation. Like I literally could not find anywhere else to watch this video to watch this movie. Like maybe in certain cities you might catch it at the dollar theater or something like that, but for the most part, it was out of mainstream being able to find it. So now, granted, as obviously Gen Con, it was out on DVD by then. But let's say if Gen Con had happened in July or June, movie's been out for at that time 4 months, I believe. Did I need to put spoiler alert on anything I said?
Um I know with the word play you answered that with. You didn't just say, I'm back from the grave, the playing werewolf. You did kind of leave it a little bit open.
Mm-hmm.
But why use the word fatal at all? You could have been like the train ride was a success, and it wouldn't have been hinted that the character dies at all.
So I wasn't trying to spare anyone's feelings. I ain't gonna lie. I was under the assumption that by this point, if you had wanted to see Mugen Train, you would have seen it.
I mean that's fair because I would also say if you know that character's name, you probably know what happens to that character too.
Right.
If someone saw your character is like, hey, you're one of those like top ninja people in Demon Slayer, aren't you? I think that's a different line. If someone
Fair,
calls you
fair.
Rengoku, because like
Right.
out of the um when the when the first season ends, I know who that is. I do
Mm-hmm.
not know his name. I
Mm-hmm.
don't learn his name until that movie. So
Okay.
I'd be like, oh, that's the Flame Hashira.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't refer to him by his actual name, but I think once you know in detail like that, it's like, all right, that's a little bit different. Like
Mm-hmm.
if someone's talking about, let's say, My Hero Academia, for instance, and of course with that, the spoilers. I mean, you got the manga, you got the show and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if for some reason someone referred to All Might by his actual name, I take that as in you're probably a little bit further along than if you just call them All Might. If you call them
Fact.
what's his name, Yoshinori or something like that. If you
Yeah.
refer to him like that, I'm like, whoa, pause, bro. Like, nah. That's like I gotta stop talking to you. You finna let something slip I don't want to fucking know about.
That's that's fair. That's fair. I just like, and I had this conversation with I just I just had it with like some other people too because I was interested in hearing their opinions of it because technically um the manga obviously is out, it's available for everybody to read, but I know certain people just only stick to the anime, so that's why like try to like be respectful of that. So even though something that like might have happened a year ago, I still might not say it because it's like I know the people in the anime haven't got to this point yet. It was
Mm.
interesting because, and I didn't make a big deal about it when we were at Gen Con, but it was two different times where we was walking together as a group, and I saw somebody dressed as somebody from My Hero that you wouldn't know unless you read the manga, and I was like, it was possible because it was subtle enough to where it was like if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you just might be like cool costume or something like that. But you could see them like interacting with other people that were dressed as My Hero, and I was like, kudos, kudos. Because I mean, if you dress with somebody from the manga, unless it's somebody we've already met, who gonna know you?
I mean, that's fair. I mean, like if when we was just looking at Dragon Ball Z, and let's say we only knew about Dragon Ball Z, and someone cosplayed as Whis, we wouldn't even make the connection because it's just like I don't know that person from Dragon Ball Z. I just it's a random fucking person. Whis and
Right,
Laura Beers walking together. I'm just like that doesn't even trigger anything because I don't know who they
right.
are. So nah, I feel you.
But I feel like I didn't do anything wrong. I feel like I feel like if I tell you right now, Randall at the end of episode 5 in
Episode five of what?
Star
Oh,
Wars,
okay.
Darth Vader tells Luke, "I'm your father." I ain't spoil shit, and I'm not telling you spoiler alert. Movie been out for almost 50 years.
Um, in general, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that's a spoiler.
All right.
If I'm like, hey, I've never seen the original Star Wars.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the trilogy over the week. I'm gonna need you to not say shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
if
yeah,
you
yeah, in general, yeah.
if you can infer to me that you haven't seen it yet, then obviously I am being a douchebag by then spoiling it for you. But I don't think I don't think I can legitimately ask somebody, hey, can you not spoil Endgame for me? The shit been out for 2.5 years.
That's fair.
It's kind of like one of those, if you let me know that hey, I just started getting into Marvel, like I just got into Marvel like over the summer. I've been like catching up on movies. I've been like knocking out like two a week. I just saw Infinity War last week. So this week I'm on deck to watch Endgame. Yeah, anything I now tell you that happened in Endgame is me being a douchebag and me purposely spoiling it for you. But I can't help that you you didn't get involved in this when it was mainstream media to the
Hmm.
point that now where I think it's saturated enough to where I can be like, oh, I can just openly talk about like Iron Man getting beamed up, and it'd be no problem. Respect to you, Iron Man. You
So,
died. You died for us all.
all right. So when you're talking about media, like we talked about, like TV shows and movie, what about a sporting event? Like let's say like
Oh,
you
you
are
got
Alabama fan, and for some reason you got tied up in the work, you didn't get to see the game, but we got a group text that talk about stuff all the time. Should we just not say anything because we know you at work and you may not have been keeping up with the score?
I say for sports, since it's more. I use the word sport, so I don't want to say sport in this. Because I feel like with movies and stuff like that, um, it's all fiction, and you're entertained by this fictional story that's being had. Sports is, I mean, it's real, but it's one of those in the moment. Like I can't expect to go 3 days without knowing who won the Super Bowl. Hell, I probably can't expect to go a day without knowing who won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, probably it's too big of an event. Yeah,
Right. Like like like
yeah,
like sports is just one of those. No, as soon as it happens, it happens. Now, I mean, I know some games are good enough for you to go rewatch again and stuff like that. But like maybe because in the movies you get like, so for the sporting event, okay, Super Bowl happens or a game happens. Another game gonna happen next week, and the game gonna happen after that next week or next day or whatever. But for like this movie, when this movie come out, another one probably ain't coming out for at least 2 years at minimum.
yeah,
Like you rarely see sequels come out the next year or something like that.
yeah.
I know, like,
That's too
and
quick.
so maybe it's because it's like, hey, this thing is gonna like live on in time versus this game. The hoopla and the excitement might be done over like a day or two. Like even when the Super Bowl happens, I normally like even when like the Colts won their Super Bowl, I was happy for like 2 days, and I was like, all right, next season, let's do it. So maybe that comes a time where like you really can't spoil a sport. But I don't know. I don't want to walk around trying to be on pins and needles on everybody. I feel like if it's something that's mainstream media available to everyone, and not trying to say the manga is not available to everyone because I know it is, but I think as a society we accept that there are people who read the manga, and there are people who watch anime, and there are people who do both. So I think it's acceptable to say, hey, we know that there's a giant percentage of people who just haven't even been exposed to this yet. Let's not spoil it for them. And that shit was kind of showing when Boruto these last few Boruto episodes have been coming up. So spoiler alert.
I might have
Um,
to tag the shit for real. Spoiler alert.
yeah, spoiler alert. So last week or two, there was a lot of images of Naruto being shown in like his super final mode of Fox. They called it Baron mode. Now this mode looks dope as shit, dope as fuck. And there was this little meme on the internet going around where it was like people who don't know got this great smile on their face because they like, oh shit, nigga Naruto finna go off, and then it had people who know, and it was the same face, but it was like in black and white, and it was
Yeah,
like, this is really finna be a really sad, touching moment because this is gonna be the last time that Naruto and Kurama the Fox are together because Kurama's gonna die, and so just like I had just wanted to see the comments, and I could tell that you could see that there's respect level of like just saying people were not now people were hinting at something drastic happening.
hmm,
People was like, don't get too excited or go get your bucket tears, but nobody wouldn't actually say, nope, Karama's finna die. He's finna use up his life and energy and stuff like that. Because the way they spin it in the show is that, hey, I got this last ditch move, but if I do it, we both gonna die. And Naruto's like, man, I've been ready to die since I became Hokage. Let ride. So they do it, and then right when it expires, Kurama then really tells him, yes, remember how I said we was both gonna die? I was actually the only one that was gonna die. But I knew if I told you that at the beginning, you weren't gonna do it. So peace out, bro. And it's all sad and heartbroken, and you shed a small tear, stuff like that. But it just showed the example of, hey, we understand that the manga isn't as mainstream as the anime. We'll let y'all have y'all moment, but you still, like I said, you still had some people who were there, but nobody just flat out and said Karama died, and I was very appreciative and surprised of it,
So
very surprised.
Naruto was ready to die because like if Naruto dies, I assume the Fox has no vessel and dies as well, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so he was ready to do that, which would have killed Kurama. but he wasn't okay with just Kurama dying.
Right.
I don't get that one.
Because it was it's kind of like if we
Like,
go,
cause you go die anyway.
no, but it's like, let's say me and you, it's like, man, the only way we're gonna save the city is if me and you go out there and we sacrifice ourselves. And you say bet, and then I go out there, and then right towards the end when you think it's about to be both of us, I was like, nah, I actually lied. It's just me. I'm gonna be the one to go.
Okay, I can understand.
It's like you came in saying, yeah, I'm willing to do this.
Yeah.
But if I told you that from Jump Street, I mean, you're a very logical person. So you'd have probably been like, hey man, do what you gotta do. But like, you still get that where it's like, ah man, I kind of like, came in thinking it was gonna be this, but it was that. Damn. But
Yeah.
but that was interesting with that spoiler. I mean, I'm surprised I've never been spoiled on Minority Report. Like I just watched that movie like last week.
Now um there is this threshold where maybe threshold is not the right word. If something's not huge like a Star Wars or a Marvel, it probably is in spoiler territory for like the first maybe 6 months or so when it comes out, and then it won't reasonably get spoiled unless someone mentions it. Like let's say in Inception, for instance, people talk about Inception in terms of entering people's dreams and that kind of stuff. Like, it's parodied.
Mm-hmm.
No one talks about the ending for real.
Yeah, you bring
So
up a good point. I think
same thing with the Matrix. Like, you see the slow mo thing, but they don't talk too much about the ending. Like, you can still watch it.
yeah. So, do you think that's maybe because I think so with Marvel and Star Wars, since we know that probably touches every single facet
Yeah.
of a person, regardless if you watch it or you don't watch it.
Especially the NFL or movies. Like, you may not know shit about football. You probably at least glanced at the Super Bowl I was on.
Fair. So I have no problem just saying anything out about that. But I feel like when I talk about Inception, I want to talk about that movie with somebody who's also seen that movie.
Yeah.
Like if I go talk to somebody about Star Wars, even if they hadn't seen it, they've probably seen enough media to know at least three random things about Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm not completely lost on where you're coming from. I just don't know enough to hold this conversation for very long. Versus Inception, it's kind of like if you don't know nothing about Inception, you just don't know. Like you would be like, what is that? Like, oh, I think it was a movie with like Leonardo DiCaprio in it, something about some dreams. But if that was like your basis of it, I could probably tell you the ending. In one, you'd probably forget by the time you ever wanted to really watch it.
Yeah.
Or two, you just wouldn't care. You'd be like, okay.